Hi Fantasy Managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to take you through my free hit for game week 25. I am free hitting in 25. I am going to go through why I'm free hitting, why it might suit you, why it might not suit you, how it fits in with my overall chip strategy, and then I'm going to take you through the side itself with some options at the end. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, give it a like, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and in the meantime let's crack on. Right then, so why should you be free hitting in 25? Now there is, I hate to say it, very team dependent. I think for most people it is not going to be a great idea, and maybe there is an argument to definitely save it for later on in the season, because we know there's blank game 26 to negotiate, big blank game double game week in double, there's a blank game week in game week, blank, oh fuck. Right, so let's have a look at why we should free hit in 25. Now, this is definitely going to be team dependent. As much as I hate saying it, everything always is. No one side is going to be the same as another. For me, it absolutely makes sense. For you and your chips that you've got left, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's definitely got to be considered that we know 25 is going to be a good double, because we've got Liverpool, Manchester City, we've got Luton and Brentford all doubling. So teams will definitely want to target Man City and Liverpool, but not players I want to hold on to longer term either. With Liverpool blanking in 26, so I've got to negotiate that, and a big blank game week in 29 with the FA Cup. Beyond that, we know also that there's going to be doubles and blanks in 33, 34, maybe 37. Well, 37 is going to be one of the biggest. So is it best to use it now or to wait until then? We're not going to know, only with the benefit of hindsight. For me, I'm going to go through the reasons why I'm going to use it in 25. And on screen is my existing side. So for me, why 25 is perfect is that I cannot really attack game week 25 with those Liverpool Man City players I want without taking some hits. That's the first consideration. This is my side that I'm going to go to. Now, time of recording, I haven't got the Man City team news, so it could change, because this side can be flexible. I could go to Salah, go from Salah to De Bruyne instead of Foden, or Walker to a different Man City player, but I have brought Foden and Walker in for this week. So I've used both my transfers. I've got plenty of money. Money's not really an issue with no Salah about. So that's okay. And this would be my side with no transfers left for game week 24. And it sets me up pretty well for 24. It does mean I'm not hitting those Liverpool players, but I don't want to keep them for 26. That's one of the main reasons why free hitting works for you. I've got no Liverpool players with Salah now gone out and he's not available. So I just want to hit that double game week they got in 25 and still come out the other side in a pretty good shape. So this is a side looking good for 24. If I move forward to 26 when I come out the other side, I'll have a transfer to make, and it looks pretty good again. I can comfortably, I think, get 11 players out. Taylor could be back. Even if he's not, he could be someone that I bring out. Cash, I think, is going to be holding his place because Konsa's out. So even with that, I have got the luxury of having a transfer to use, so I should cover myself, and the side looks pretty good. I also get to keep Porro, Richarlison, who I don't really want to get rid of because they've got money invested in them, and they both play in 29, so that helps me in that respect. I also don't need to use transfers to get Liverpool players out of this side, let alone hit, so I can actually focus now on getting my side ready for game week 29, and those Man City players are still good for me, so I'm going to hold them through this game week and probably all the way up through to game week 29, when then I will consider getting rid of some of them, because they do have the blank, expected blank in 30, and then also Arsenal to come. So when I get to 30, I have got a wild card. I will know by that point which teams, not necessarily when, but I know which teams are going to be blanking and doubling for the rest of the remainder 8 games of the season, and I can fit my side in around that. The other thing as well, for not holding my free hit, I do think possibly taking my free hit now is, I know teams are going to be wanting to put a full strength side out. I know who's available. I haven't got many other injury concerns, so I don't need to waste transfers around other players. And I just don't know if that's going to be the situation later on in the season when we have possibly the biggest double in 37. The title might be over. There might be injury concerns. There's rotation with maybe Champions League and European places, competitions still teams competing for. I just don't know who's going to play. I feel there's going to be a lot more variables around that point that I don't know. Even if I had a free hit that I'm going to use it, I'm not really sure who's going to be playing. So all of that indecision could sort of really downside or limit the upside to what I can make later on season. So doing it now, where I'm pretty sure I know who's going to start. I can never be sure with Guardiola, or indeed with Klopp with rotation in the EFL Cup final. But I'm pretty confident that the team that I can put together is going to maximise the benefits now. Why take the risk later on? I think also with that wild card, I can negotiate it pretty well. So those are all the reasons why, for me, it makes absolute sense. It's a lack of Liverpool assets. Also, I'd love to have players like Nunez in, and Tony, who's got a double. But I don't want to lose Watkins or Solanke, because Watkins plays all the way through to 29. He's got games in there, and Solanke's got a double coming up as well. So just getting rid of them just doesn't make a lot of sense. I could get rid of them, bring them back, but I'm losing a lot of value in them as well. So free hit just makes good sense for me. It leaves me in a good position at the end of it. I'll go through my free hits over 25 in a second, but all in all, it just looks really good for me. Whether it suits you or not, you'd have to make your own mind up, and it does depend. I can do this because I do have my wild card in my back pocket that I can use later down the line. That all being said, let's take a look at the wild card. Not wild card, let's have a look at the free hit side. So I'm going to go through my free hit side, looking at the players that I am absolutely nailed into this side. And I'm going to start off with Virgil van Dijk. I was actually surprised when I go through the numbers that he's got no attacking returns this season. I do remember previous seasons, definitely previous clubs, where he has scored and he's such a threat from set pieces. And I'm not saying he isn't. His underlying stats 0.17 aren't too bad. And could this be his week where he gets an attacking return from a set piece, something like that? But he's such a great asset, and he is just nailed. And that's the sole reason he's going into this side, not for his attacking threat. It's just the fact that I know he's going to play both games. We can talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold later on in the video, but for me, I just think there's a few doubts around whether he's going to play both games. In the centre-back position at the moment, Virgil plays both games. He just comes in. He has to be a non-negotiable for me. The other one as well, with Salah now knowing that he's going to struggle to get involved for Game Week 25 at all. EFL Cup final, maybe you'd think they're targeting, but Diego Jota's place in that side looks a little bit more assured. Never any guarantees, but for me, in the form he's on, he has to come in. He's playing down the middle as well. So in midfield, Jota absolutely has to be in there. And the other one as well, taking advantage of the fact that don't have to play Watkins or Tony with a free hit. Watkins or Solanke with a free hit. I can bring Nunez in, and he just looks brilliant as well. The fact that he was actually rested in Game Week 23, if anything, that's quite a good thing, I think, as well. He sort of enforced rest through injury, came off the bench, but he looks really good form, and those fixtures look great for Liverpool. It's a double. I'm just not going to miss out. His underlying stats are unbelievable. It's just minutes. With Salah not playing, could he get both starts? I think he's as good as anyone else to get both starts in that double. As with Jota, there's always a risk that Gakpo, you've got Diaz playing as well. Maybe Salah gets in a second, maybe Luton gets some minutes, because either will want him to get minutes if they're going to target the EFL Cup final before it. So, but I can't see Salah starting, in which case Nunez looks pretty good for that. In such good form at the moment, he comes in. In terms of Man City assets then, I think I've got to go Kyle Walker, just because he is the absolute most nailed on Man City player. He's got 2 home fixtures, Chelsea and Brentford. Goal threat, not much at all. Only 2 assists this season. If he gets anything, I'll be absolutely thrilled. He only missed 1 game this season after some of his off-the-field problems. Pep did sort of rest him. I think it was for Game Week 23. He came back in for the last one. So I don't know if it's a rest or rotation. I will need to keep an eye on that team sheet for today's game to make sure that he's still playing. But otherwise, I think if he is going to start that game, I think he is the most likely to start both games for Man City in that double game week. The other one I'm going to go for as well is Phil Foden. Again, he has played something like the last 12 games in a row. They do have a full strength squad to pick from, so there's always going to be the risk of rotation. But they don't have the EFL Cup final. It is a quick turnaround in terms of midweek games, midweek Saturday. But Foden, I think he's as more likely to play as anyone else. I think he's a really good option. The other choice is you could go KDB. Now, I've absolutely got no problems if you want to go to KDB. If you thought he was going to play both games in this double game week, I think he would be my preferred choice. I just think there's probably, just weighing it up, I just feel Foden's more likely to play games. He's had less of a layoff that De Bruyne has clearly had. And also, just in the back of my mind, his goal threat is just not as high as Foden. We've seen that as evidence in the last game. So those things weighed up, I'm just not 100% sure that I would trust KDB to play both games. And Haaland has to come up front. I'm not really going to talk too much about that. It just seems like an absolute obvious choice. And he would be wearing the captain's armband as well. Next one I'm going to go for is Ross Barkley. I think in terms of midfield, I've already got the 3 Liverpool. I've got my 3 Man City. There's obviously other slots to go in. I could go down other routes. But for a double game week, even though it doesn't look great, I'm still going to pick Ross Barkley. I'm not expecting any clean sheets from him. Could he get one against Manchester United? He's been pretty much a fulcrum for Luton. I don't think I'd ever have thought at the start of the season I'm going to be talking about playing Ross Barkley in a free hit. But here he is. At home to Man United, away at Liverpool. He's absolutely nailed. Biggest goal threat in midfield for Luton. He has to come in for me. Lastly, up front then, I've got to go with Antonio. The fixtures aren't great, but it is a double. He's on penalties. He's going to play 90 minutes. And as we saw last season, Brentford doing a double over Man City, he can score against absolutely anyone. Would it surprise me if he got one return in both of these games? Not in the least. If he came up with more, fantastic. But Tony has to come in. In terms of keepers, I've not talked about them yet. You've got a choice, really. You could go down a single player route. For me, I'm just absolutely prioritising 11 double week players. I'm really attacking it as hard as I can. So all these players are going to be fairly differential as well. Looking at Mark Flecken, I didn't realise Brentford's actually got the 4th best defence in terms of expected goals conceded. So against them, the expected data says that they're 4th in the table. Really hard fixtures. I'm not expecting a clean sheet in either of them. Liverpool at home, Man City away. Doesn't get a lot harder than that. Save points, as we saw with Man City at home, possibly we're looking at. In fact, he plays 2 games. I'm looking at 4 or 5 points. And I don't know if there's anyone else. You could end up going a single game with Raya, something like that, away at Burnley. So could they get a clean sheet? Definitely. But I'm just going to go for Flecken. Flecken or Kaminski. And again, obviously their defence has not been great. Only 2 clean sheets, the same as Brentford, but they rank 20th, the bottom of the charts. Again, could they keep a clean sheet against Man United? I wouldn't say it's absolutely impossible, but I wouldn't expect it. And again, clean sheets possibility. Save points a possibility as well. But those are the 2 choices. You could decide, depending on who else you want to attack. I think with the 3 City and Man City, well, 3 City and the 3 Liverpool are going to defend the midfielder and striker for both. Tony up front. I then left with a few other players. I've got Barkley in the middle, and then I've got a choice. Do I go for one Luton defender and then Brentford keeper and defender, or do I want to go double up on Luton and put Kaminski in goal? I think Doughty and Collins are the 2 players that offer the most attacking potential, and I don't expect them to get returns because their fixtures are so hard. But you know that I'm just playing the numbers there. I think they're most likely than anyone else. On the bench, you've got Kabore. You could play instead of Doughty. You've got quite a lot of money in terms of who you can play with. If you wanted to have more money, you could downgrade Saka to someone who's 3rd on the bench. I'll just put them on there because I think they're the next best options for single game week players. But I am, as you can see, completely going absolutely all in on double game week players. Zinchenko you could bring in instead of a Doughty. You could, like I say, play Raya if you wanted instead of a Flecken. That's 2 Arsenal players, but it just takes 1 goal and that's wipe out. With Flecken and Doughty, I don't know, it's just two chances. Who knows what could happen? You know, Liverpool get a player sent off, suddenly Luton are on the attack and the clean sheet looks more likely. I don't for a minute think that's going to happen, but save points with Flecken, penalty, who knows? Just 2 chances. And it's just much more fun having a double game week player. I think if I went for Zinchenko in defence and suddenly they conceded a goal, then that's it. It's wiped out. It's all over. So other choices are that you could go Kevin De Bruyne instead of Foden in midfield. Absolutely. If you think he's going to play both games, if you think I'm wrong and he's got more chance of playing both games, put him in, downgrade Saka to someone as an enabler. He comes in. If you think Trent is going to play both games, absolutely you should go for Trent because he is far better asset than Virgil is going to be. He's more expensive, but you do have the money. You could start toying around with this if you wanted to and not have Jota in midfield, or you're worried about Darwin's minutes. Then you could go for is it Adebayo up front for Luton, and then you could go for another Liverpool defender. You could double up on that, or Alisson or Edison in goal. But you obviously have to have your 3 Man City. For me, Walker, Foden, Haaland look the most nailed. I think Virgil, Jota and Darwin are the most exciting and nailed for Liverpool. But I do accept there's some risk around Darwin and Jota. As there is with any of these players, I guess no one's absolutely certain. But I will be keeping an eye on the team sheets today, throughout the week, press conferences, obviously adjusting anything in accordance to that. But when the button, when game week 25 clicks into effect, or 24 finishes, I will be pressing the button and putting this side in just to protect me from any price rises. But that's my side. Let me know what you think. That's it for this one then, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you intend to free hit for game week 25. If not, when are you going to free hit? And who do you think I should be bringing in for my game week 25 side? In the meantime, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll come back at you next week with more team selection, watch this, all that good stuff. But have a great FPL weekend, and I'll speak to you soon.